Hello, hello. Okay. Think we are good. Always having issues here, but hopefully not this time. Uh so let me link the stream here. Now that we got it going. Find it. Here it is. Okay. I want to check the mic a little bit. Find it. Seems good, I think. Here it is. Okay. I want to check the mic a little bit. Yeah, that sounds great. Okay. So let us link this up. Sorry for the late start, later than normal. I just had to eat dinner, finish a show I was watching. But we're ready to start. So, tilt the mic a bit towards me. Sometimes I kind of like to pick it up and have it here. I don't know if that makes it a bit too loud. But, and from what I just checked, it seems like you should be able to hear me fine. So we'll pull the chapter up. What have I been up to lately? Not too much. I've been working. I'm doing pretty well at work. I think they want to promote me, but I might not take the promotion. For reasons, you know, the main reason being that it's difficult to become possibly the boss of a team that you know, I already have clashes with. They already sort of possibly kind of see me as like a bit of a snitch, even though I've like never really done that. But I am, you know, a rule follower, and I don't really want to create conflict in that regard. So that might be why I don't take that position. But that's a little personal stuff. Aside from that, I've been watching a fair amount of movies lately. I've been keeping up my one theater viewing per week pretty well. How do I open the chat on this again? It's usually up there, just normally. Trying to, how do I turn the chat on this thing? I might have to go to the phone to see it. Yeah, so last week, what did I see? I saw Kung Fu Panda 4 a couple of weeks ago. What the heck did I see last week? I must not have made that much of an impression. Just having trouble remembering it earlier this week, too. Right, Monkey Man. It was pretty good. It was pretty good, Monkey Man. Hey guys, good to see you. I guess I have to... I don't know why I can't get the chat on my OBS right now. The chat is it's giving me information about the chat. It's not giving me the actual chat, so... select stream. Oh. No. Nope. That's not it. Okay, I don't know. Is this it? Open source filters? No. I don't know. But this week I'm probably gonna see Civil War, which seems all right. And then next week I'll probably see Abigail, which is a vampire movie. So that's been good to do every week. I don't often go with friends, but I do sometimes. It's just difficult to do that because my friend's theater is like his main theater is a different one for mine, and he has the subscription for his theater, and I have the subscription for mine. So we both get into our theaters for free, but we don't get into each other's for free. But really big stuff we'll go see. I'm still gonna check if I can maybe put chat on here. It's so weird that it didn't just come up with chat. All right, hello. I don't know what happens with OBS or my stuff. I know I can tell when it's going and when it's not going. I just I have to be looking at it. Well, I don't remember. I don't know where I cut out. What I was just talking about was the licensing desk that opened up at Raiku's publishing company, Bergen Board, and how I normally try not to be too optimistic about things like this, but I really think it's only a matter of time until we at the very least get an English translation of the manga. Um, I mean, I just think that is why they did this, right? That's why they opened up this section of Bergen Board, is to facilitate things like this. It would be strange for it not to happen. A new anime, I think, is also more likely now, but I can't say like I know that one is going to happen or when one is going to happen. But I think for a publisher to want to publish a manga is a much easier step than for an anime studio to want to animate an anime. So I would really say it's only a matter of time at this point until we get a new English translation of Zatch Bell, which is going to be super exciting. But there's not too much more to say than that in regard to the licensing thing. If we do get a new anime, I don't think that it will be based on the model sheets that Doodles discovered and I made a video on a while ago. It'll probably be a brand new thing, but I'm sure it'll be good. So let's get going with the chapter. This was chapter 21 of the series. And last we left off, this new girl character had encountered Dr. Riddles in bed at his hospital, in his room. I thought about doing a possible thumbnail of me in bed like Dr. Riddle's, but I felt there wasn't anything I could do that could have made it interesting enough as like a joke. I was thinking like of something I could put on my hand to be the butterfly, but there was nothing good, and it would be really difficult to keep something on your hand like that, you know. So I chose not to do that. And I just used a thumbnail I had in mind of Ponygon biting my hand, which I did last stream anyway. Speaking of Ponygon, he is here. He will once again be playing the role of Bobby in this chapter, which I'll probably keep having him play roles until Ponygon actually shows up, from which point he will play Ponygon. So, yeah, you should have gotten a butterfly tattoo. I know, yeah, the butterflies are often tattoos, so that would be funny. I don't have anything that's like a bug character that I could have used or anything like that, so no. Maybe next time, I don't know. So anyway, this new lady is encountering Dr. Riddles, and we have him saying the line he said last chapter, "But I'm sure you know me better as Dr. Riddles, the one who knows everything." And she responds, but it's not her who responds, it's the butterfly who responds, probably with her voice. "Thank you." What? And so that's the butterfly on Dr. Riddles' hand. It flies up. It doesn't fly. It like flutters. And then it actually sort of descends down into Dr. Riddles' hand, into his skin. And you can see it flutters all the way up his arm and up his neck and into his face until eventually rests on his forehead. And you can see he's quite freaked out by this, but I don't specifically know if you actually kind of feel anything when this happens, or if it's just the surprise that he feels. Okay, my work here is done. Did that butterfly just crawl its way up to my forehead? Thankfully he has a mirror where you can check. And now for some bonus points. Are Gash and his friends on their way there? Here. So I need to zoom in a little bit for the text on this bad boy. Seems to absorb itself into his skin. I think Rita posted a hilarious App Simpsons gif for this. I did not see that. What have you done? Why is this butterfly inscribed on my forehead? Answer my question first, and then maybe I'll tell you. Yes, they are. Gash-kun and the others will be here in just a few hours. Great. Orange, go bring back Bobby for me. I can do that, but I have to. I have to take the Ponygon puppet off. Alright, so let me fill you in on what's going to happen. The color of this butterfly is black. It's a Reaper butterfly, just like she sang in the last chapter. That means you only have 2 hours left to live. Which people predicted that she would somehow poison him. They were right about that. With a little luck, maybe you'll catch one last glimpse of Gash and his friends before your dying breath. I see. You seem quite knowledgeable. So how would one go about removing the butterfly? Oh, wow. I bring that up out of nowhere, and you believe me right away. Snap is the best. Welcome. Anyone can see you used to be the owner of a spellbook. Oddly enough, I'm getting quite used to being surrounded by the surreal. Oh, that's Dr. Riddles who said that. Oddly enough, I'm getting quite used to being surrounded by the surreal. Well, you can call me Blue. And if you want to get rid of that butterfly, you'll have to kill me first. By the way, where's Vino? Even Orange Butterfly wasn't able to find any trace of him. Vino is at school right now. Do you think you'll have time to wait for this butterfly to do its thing? After all, security is bound to show up by then. Green Butterfly has already taken care of that. Its powers are making everybody panic like crazy. Nobody will be able to think rationally or figure out what to do. So we see people in the hospital running all around, carrying people, bumping into other people. People are just going nuts. Very interesting abilities that this girl has. At this point, I don't think any of them even remember that you were in danger. And Big Boing is rolling, somersaulting across the floor. The other members of the Majestic 12 are doing various things. There's a lot of cleaning going on, is what they've resorted to as a reaction. I don't think Big Boing's freaking out here is related to her freaking out from the previous chapter, but maybe it is. I don't know. Like, it might be. It might be part of the same green butterfly effects when in the middle of the broadcast she said they needed help. But I think Dr. Riddles probably just predicted that they were going to be in danger and had Big Boing tell Kyo in her own unique way. Anyhow, using up our confusion power was a small price to pay. Now Gash and his friends will have no choice but to come save you. It's good that Zatch and Kyo didn't encounter this confusion power. Yeah, I mean, I guess, Doodle says, I thought it was interesting that the panic power was used up. I guess it's just one butterfly, and once you use that one, it's busy or something, It's just a bonus round, after all. If it feels like we're going to lose, we can always just forfeit. She's not concerned. Because she says this is a bonus round because the point is they are not taking out any real big pieces in, the enemy Zatch's team here, They're taking out a guy whose Momoto they're fairly certain at this point he cannot bring back. And then they're taking out a human partner whose Momoto, as far as they know, is completely off the board and dead. So that's why she said it's a bonus round. This is just sort of a loose ends, sort of thing that the villains are doing. Either way, even after we leave, you're still going to be dead in 2 hours sharp. I am mysterious Dr. Riddles who knows all there is to know. And I also know that this attempt on my life will end in failure. What a good sport. Most people freak out when you tell them they're about to die. I didn't even have to get all gloomy either. Oh, so you mean to say that taking a person's life would normally make you feel gloomy? Of course. Do you think I like doing all this? This seems to surprise Dr. Riddles, because she has been fairly nonchalant about all this so far. I wasn't expecting to hear that. I have actually been in contact with Gash-kun's human partner for quite some time now. He told me that you and your allies had destroyed the demon world where Kiddo and his friends live. I heard that there were many who died. Yes, it's true. And Kiddo was one of them. And this obviously stresses Dr. Riddles out quite a bit, though Dr. Riddles presumably does know that other Momoto have been brought back to life so far. So he probably has not completely lost hope. You've lived long enough to understand why I do it, right? Sometimes you have no choice but to do something that you know is wrong in order to survive. But I'm really interested in these strange butterflies. I didn't live a very long life, only 12 years. Big time for 12-year-olds in manga right now. If you read One Piece, these preteens are killing it in manga, these characters. And there's a lot of young characters in manga, so it's probably not just them too. Haven't you ever wondered what it'd be like to get a second chance at life? I'm sure all it'll take is a little patience, and then I'll finally find the happiness I was provided. So she's explaining a little of her reasoning here, which, we kind of are aware of from the other cards, that they die, and then they are brought back by Belial, and clearly he's, promising them something. Where, if you become a part of my army and do something for me, then you can, have these fabulous secret powers, which seem new to her. For some of the other people, it seems like they have these powers already. But these powers seem new to her. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell. In the instance of someone like Levy, we don't know if, when she was alive, she was like the king of beasts, right? But we don't know if she can manifest these beasts in the same way using her hair that she can once she was brought back as a card. We don't really know that. So we don't know how many of these people's abilities are new and how many they had before. For all we know, Blue might have been a human, before. It seems like some of the other cards come from other dimensions, planets, universes, whatever you want to call it. There's nothing telling us right now that Blue could not have been a human in her previous life. So Dr. Riddles is saddened by this state of affairs. Hey, no more sad stories. After all, I was lucky enough to meet a gem like you. They're already, kind of, they're connecting a little bit, You don't say. Well, how about it? Why don't you pick out a book from my countless supply? There are so many fascinating page-turners to discover. Reading is great, kids. I've been doing it more lately. I've been enjoying it again. I used to be a huge reader in all throughout my school years, all the way up to the end of high school. And I did it intermittently throughout college and after, but I've recently really made an effort to do it more, and I've been loving it. Reading is still a very special thing. Reading, prose where you can imagine the world inside your head. I think that's always great, Lucy even have a false arm, so maybe that's what killed her. Yeah, that's a good question. If it's not impossible that those the location of those weird orbs, the cores, or whatever, could be related to how they died. But I have to double check, but for some reason Bobby says later that Dr. Riddles is a bonus, so it's likely that Vino is our main objective after all, despite having an obliterated demon. Yeah, they could also consider the whole thing a bonus, Like, I don't know. Like I said, there's... Killing Dr. Riddles or Vino would not feasibly do too much for their cause. A poison that ravaged the arm. Yeah, that's what I would possibly think. Yeah, that, whatever happened to kill her, if the arm is connected, it would have started in her arm, whatever that might have been. Huh? No sense in being bored out of your mind waiting for Gash-kun and the others to get here. You're still new to this world, isn't that right, Blue? So Dr. Riddles, he seems like he's good with kids, young people. In case you forgot, I'm still in the middle of killing you, remember? And did you forget what I said to that? You can try to take my life, but it's not going to work. We don't know if Dr. Riddles actually feels like he knows this, or if he is just being showy. He does seem to, how I described him before is that I think he combines sort of a Sherlock Holmes level intellect and ability to deduct things, along with an awareness of psychology and the way people think and the things around him, with also just like a large information network that includes the Majestic 12 and like having a lot of money, which he can use to, track people, and which, in my opinion, he could have feasibly used to track Kafka's Sunbeam down. It stretches believability a little bit, but I think it could possibly have been done to find just a unique person who had a connection with animals that could serve as Polygon's partner. So yeah, he's pretty confident that she's not going to be able to kill him. To which she, that's an odd face that she reacts to that. She's bemused. He's kind of a charlatan in a lot of way, Zatch Gamer says. Lots of sleights of hand to make people think he knows more than he does, yes. But it doesn't explain how this man found Sunbeam across the world. Yeah, so it's a little of both. Some of it's show, but I think that there is a lot of real, extraordinary ability to find information and come to conclusions that he has. So he's in his 80s, but he still climbs pretty well up on that ladder. Here's a selection I think you'll enjoy. It has a bunch of books, just about various, classic subjects in the human world, right? There's something called Flying Town by, I didn't notice this before, by Olivia Langham. That's not a real person, right? Clearly the cover of that book would make you think of Peter Pan and, flying, right? Peter Pan was by a guy, though. So, yeah, I think, that might be a made-up name, but that one seems to stand out from the rest as being a sort of more of a storybook than the others, which are like textbooks. Though there is something on the upper left there that has a girl on it, You can see her feet. It could be Alice in Wonderland. And then you also see something called the Little Moon there as well. Howl's Moving Castle. Yeah, I mean, it could be any number of things. Howl's Moving Castle was also a novel. Wow, these are awesome. I love how there's so many pictures. What? There are really creatures this huge roaming around here? Right, so here's... Okay, so what I said earlier was not correct. You know, it's been a minute since I read this chapter. The stream is coming a little late compared to some of the others. You know, it's pretty clear from what Blue says here, she's not a human. We don't even necessarily know if she knows how to read from the way she's reacting to these books. And, you know, as we're about to see, she doesn't know much about the human world. So Dr. Riddle says, impressive, aren't they? The desert behind this building is practically crawling with them. Really? Kidding. So this is clearly satisfying the fans here with this classic Dr. Riddle's bit. And in Kiddo's absence, though I think we will see him sooner or later, despite apparently being dead, he is doing it to this new villain. Whoa, what a cool giant. That's the mighty Zundam. People ride inside this robot and use it for combat. So clearly these appear to be Gundam references here. She could be human from before the dinosaurs were discovered, I suppose. I guess that's possible. They weren't too well known to the public for a long time. Just beyond the skies overhead, there are many battles being waged between the forces of good and evil. Really? Kidding. Who are these cool people? Every year, 5 of the best and brightest are recruited to become cyborgs. Right now, there are over 300 of them in total. These cyborgs are strong and fight on the side of justice, but they're still human at heart. Sometimes when they were faced with the choice of eating katsu curry or freeing a band of hostages, the katsu curry won them over. That's awful. Who are these guys? Who are these heroes? They suck. So this, you know, appears to be a reference to, as is shown in the notes, Super Sentai, but also there are cyborgs, which, you know, could be Kamen Rider, it could be Cyborg 009, it could be any number of things. And you can see on the right, the sort of main team here, they all have some interesting designs in their heads. And you can see kind of their elements, I'm assuming, on the top there that are coming together, like Captain Planet, you know, Earth, Air, Fire, Water, all that stuff. And let me see what else we have in the chat here. And then on the left, you can see this sort of picture of just a huge amount of these people. These Super Sentai guys, which reminds me a little bit of the big group photo of the gang that I have the big framed version of in my room. The gang from Zatch Bell, you know, all the Momoto and partners. Really? It's all true. Well, the katsu curry is anyway. And we, I don't even know how I would take that. What do you mean the katsu curry part is true? What does that even mean? What's true and what's not? So she continues reading. Takes a while. Riddle time! Riddle time! I assume that's his own voice that is serving as his ringtone here. Seems like Gash-kun and the others will be arriving shortly. Aw, already? However, there is one thing I'd like to advise you about Gash-kun's partner, Kiyomaru-kun. It's good advice, right? It's really good advice. Just wait and see. I like how the picture of Kyo that comes up is like how Dr. Riddles would probably envision him with his classic unamused face. But of course. And we see about an entry in a book about a tiger, Neophelis nebulosa. Cool looking tiger. I don't exactly know what's special about it, but okay, here he is. It's time. It's Ponygon's time to shine. Can we see? I gotta move the chat and make sure we can see Ponygon here. Yeah, we can see him fine. Oh, Blue really did find Doctor first. When butterflies came back, me thought we lost. Vino not here. He told me Vino was still at school. It's the clouded leopard that's about to come into play. Oh, right. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. Got it. They got there fast. No, you don't think that he was there, teaching her stuff for 2 hours? He could have been. She could have just been sitting there reading. Oh, well, this man bonus anyway. So yeah, it seems like Vino is the more important objective to them. We don't know if the whole thing is the bonus round or if it's just Dr. Riddles. It's not mega important. Yeah, look like job finished. So he's aware of Blue's abilities. That way, me or you won't die from penalty. So, once again, if the job is not completed, one or both of them die. Belial kills them. We've seen that he's not very forgiving, though I don't think we've directly seen him kill any of these people yet, have we? Because we've seen them die from using the magic to empower, their partner. But we've never really seen Belial kill him. We've seen him really hurt Gil. Perhaps Bobby should have arrived sooner, though. That's true. I mean, I don't know. Bobby might have just been running around. Maybe he was confused by the butterfly power. Yeah, Bobby's a really interesting design and guy. It's bizarre to have like this big dumb guy this far into the series as like a major enemy. And he's got like a welding mask that's too big for his head. He's just got this really bizarre, it's very Raikou, the sort of weird armor he's wearing. And then he's got this strange club, which we are going to see later on. By the way, I'm not a ventriloquist. I'm not going to try to be a ventriloquist. I'm not intending to be a ventriloquist. Please don't judge me on my ability to not have my mouth move while making Porygon talk. That is not a skill of mine. And then suddenly, Kyo and Zatch arrive. Dr. Riddles! They both shout. It's them! Gash-kun and Kiyomaru-kun! Kiyomaru-kun is the one with the dark hair. Then suddenly, Blue shouts, Pimply Kiyomaru, I'm a baby boo! Which she does in a really bizarre way. Immediately, Kyo is like, okay. Kyo, I'm sure, immediately knows that this is Dr. Riddle's doing. Whatever is going on. Whatever is going on here. Again! Pimply Kiyomaru, I'm a baby boo! And this is pretty much exactly how it's spelled in the Japanese. Bobby's very happy about this. He's very amused by all this. One more time! Pimply Kiyomaru, I'm a baby boo! It's the spell, the most powerful spell. She's really trying here. Moving her head back and forth. Dr. Riddles, what is this? What the heck is going on? I told her that when she recites this incantation, you shall spit out a clouded leopard and then promptly die. So we see an illustration of this. Kyo is spitting out this leopard, which is kind of attacking, but he's sort of choking as he does this. He lied! Pimply Kiyomaru, I'm a baby boo! She seems distressed that it's not working, and the thought that Dr. Riddles once again lied to her. I'm telling you, he was lying, goddammit! Just make the stupid leopard come out already! Do you have any idea how excited I was to see that? Your taste in entertainment is as moronic as you are, stupid brat! Dr. Riddles is very amused. Bobby is also very amused. And that's the end of that bit. I can't stand people who shatter my hopes like that. Bobby, get ready to fight. I think Bobby is laughing at Blue. I think, he wouldn't know what she was planning to do. I think even he can tell, not being familiar with the situation, similar to how Kyo can, that Blue was taken by Dr. Riddle. She was tricked. So Bobby holds up his staff, and it transforms into this really, really bizarre thing, which not only holds the spell vials we're familiar with, but also appears to hold a smaller creature that itself has spell vials in it. So the club seems like a creature itself. You can see on the sides it actually has eyes, and where it's holding the vials and the other creature, there's sort of like these appendages, and then it also has a very humanoid nose in between the two, sort of prongs coming out. Really strange thing. Presumably, this is, in terms of Bobby's abilities, much more dangerous than his physical strength, though he seems to be quite. I don't know what to tell you with this mic, honestly. It's you know, I can hit plenty of times, really. Yeah, it might be I'm accidentally pressing this mute button that's at the top of the mic. I don't know. Sorry. So he cast the spell. Ajasu Rigaron. And we see these chains coming up and down. This is a spell of Marus. And, in the spell vials, we can see the spike ball, which is Marus's spell element. We can see what looks like a flower stem. We can't really see the flower. And then we can also see something here that's like a cube, which reminds me of like a little of something you might see in Vector Ball, like one of the puzzles at the beginning. But it also looks like it has a face. And I forget if we see what this corresponds to before. All right, you guys didn't miss much. So these spike balls come out of the ground. This is a pretty weak spell, It's interesting that they can go in and out of the ground. This is not a spell we saw Marus use. But Kyo dodges it. Zatch hits it with the mantle, which is very, durable, and it goes away. So it's not much of a spell. It's just the first salvo, Yeah, this puppet allows us to do a lot of exciting things. No, blue. So he lets this thing go. She catches it on her arm. It has spell elements of its own on it. One of which is Fane's spell element. So she casts Uruk as he speeds right behind them. So Fane's, spells still a very good thing to have, to be that speedy. Very useful. So she teleports behind Kyo and Zatch, as many fan characters are known to do. Gabarujua! So this is seems to be a plant element spell, like Sujino has. And this causes a bunch of vines, very hard to dodge, to fly at them. Then Bobby cast Roboruga! And that is one of Coral Q's spells. So yeah, the squarey looking spell element was Coral Q's in the vial there. Big blast. Q and Zatch cast Sekaraga, and they jump through. They burn through the vines and jump through them. Zekir! So now, because Roboruga is coming through the vines and they're attacking with Sekir, the Pinter attack on Zatch and Kyo is turned to a Pinter attack on Blue. Beat it! But Blue's smart enough to just call the spell off, make it disappear. So now she can pretty much dodge. Uruk! She uses and she dashes away faster than the eye can see when the two spells hit each other. There you go. Seems to be caliber spells, most likely. The green-haired ancient demon girl. Yeah, the Rose Girl. I mean, you know, I think her and Sujino may have had the same spell element anyway. Oh, man. Got caught by surprise. King sure is awesome. Not easy to do that voice for so long. Spell bottles those two are holding. I don't see anything resembling Kiddo's spells in any of them. Oh, did you notice? We didn't bring any of Kiddo's spells with us. I could tell by that sour look on your face that he noticed. But yeah, it's nice that Bobby is giving props to Zatch and Kyo's skills. When you restore books or revive demons, you guys are going to need some of the spells we stole from you to fight back, right? We learned a lot from Brago's fight. Sorry, Dr. Riddles. I'm sure you would have loved the chance to see Kiddo again, huh? So this is a really cool thing of, you know, Raikou showing the villains changing their plans and becoming smarter over time, which I like a lot. He's already sort of shown us a bit of their tactics and explained, you know, why they make the choices they make. Now they're going after the top 10, and they're going after Vino because of his connection to the top 10. And, you know, they're specifically going after partners who are public figures or, you know, otherwise well-known. And this is another example of Raikou showing that, so I like that. You know, I think clearly seeing that happen every single time we needed to revive a Momoto, or needed a spell element for another reason, like with Tia's, it was sort of annoying to see that, oh, it just so happens that the enemy brought that spell element with them. But now they have learned, and they're probably not going to do that again, which means it's going to be very difficult to revive any dead Momoto, presumably up until we can bring the fight to them, you know, in some way. Alternatively, you know, you also could just take the spell vials that you get, you know, the good guys could, when they beat the enemy, and sort of save them for when potentially they can revive that a Momoto related to that element. But, you know, we don't know if just any old Momoto can be revived that way. Presumably, only the Momoto that are in the sarcophaguses can be revived that way. So it's a limited number of them. I forget how many they said there were, maybe 27 or something like that. Gunter has Kiddo's spell element, and Zatch and Kyo thrashed him, so they might have it already. That is true. He did have that element. We don't know if they used it up or if it got lost, or if, yes, maybe it is in the Momoto world somewhere, or if they maybe have to wait for someone to deliver it. That is a very good point. Gashkun, don't let this child defeat you. However, I also ask that you please find it in your heart to rescue her as well. Blue is very surprised and somewhat touched by this. She's a very good kid. This is a very nice moment from Dr. Riddles, you know. It shows his character, you know, as we know him to be. He's a really an empathetic person at heart. And he knows that Blue is doing this, you know, because she wants to live, not because she's evil. Unu, I promise we'll save her life. Do you even know what you're saying? If I don't die, you will instead. Is that not something you want? Calling her out a bit here. So if you can see, the butterfly is sort of going over Dr. Riddle's eye. We don't know if this is part of the poison, if it's expanding or what. Very well, Blue. If you think you can win this, then by all means try. The boy who stands before you has outlasted a grand total of 99 other demons. He is Gash Bell, the king of the demon world. So we got another good splash page here of Zatch and Kyo posing. Thankfully, the chapter's ending soon. I don't have to keep doing these voices. Dr. Raikou, Zatch, is he Dr. Raikou now? Uh, Dr. Raikou is writing riddles like he had just written his character yesterday. It's such an amazing return to form. Yeah, I mean, that's something I've said on Discord and in multiple Discords, actually. I share the Zatch Build 2 chapters in a One Piece Discord I'm in for a couple other people that read, is that it's pretty funny to see Raikou go back to really portraying a character as the fans want, both in Dr. Riddle's comedic bit and in his, his more emotional way, after kind of dragging Sherry through the mud and doing a lot with her that the fans didn't want. So yeah, his as has been discussed much on these streams, his intentions with Sherry, we're not quite sure about, and he might still be in the middle of telling that story. Hey, Blue, you gonna let Dr. Riddles make you no think straight? This is really taking a toll on me. I think I'm able to do this less than many other people because I have issues in this area, medical issues. It's tough, but I'm doing it because it's not even that crazy of a voice, you know. But we're gonna soldier on. He gonna die soon, so we no have to. Who cares if win or lose against Gash? No, we're gonna win this. Belial even lent me some of the more powerful spells to use on Gash and his friends. So we can see specifically showing Fane's spell element, which I really hope we get to see more of. Maybe even an upgraded version of Uruk would be really cool to see. And besides, so we can see that the butterfly is now continuing to expand, or you said Doodles, I think you said it was melting, which is also something that you could definitely say, over his face. And besides, what matters most of all is that I'm Blue. Blue, who is fascinated by butterflies. And no one, whether they're a priest, soldier, or king, has ever seen me for who I really am. So, she is hinting at her true nature, which we're not really aware of. We don't know what she's referring to. Seems like she had quite a life up until now. And we don't know if this fascination with butterflies is something that defined her in her previous life. It definitely might be, which is why she was given these abilities in this life. But she has some sort of secret. And, she's also trying to say that I'm a bad guy, all right? You don't want to mess with me. I'm going to kill you guys. Okay, with Dr. Riddles, it's like, she's a good girl, don't hurt her, She's like, da, 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 da. All right, I'm bad, okay? I'm going to kill you. No, tell me. You even gonna bring out Red Butterfly? Almost done. If the need arises. Hey, Blue! So the Red Butterfly, in some ways, probably even as dangerous as the Black Butterfly. True nature or true form? She's a bug. Doodles, I think that's probably it. She's probably Blue Butterfly. That's interesting. I didn't think of that at all. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. I don't know. She said she's fascinated with butterflies. Would it make sense that she would be a bug? Now, that'd certainly be a twist. She's some kind of bug. So, the spell vials shine. She casts Rosaria Gidoruk, another plant spell. This one, I'm not sure if this was specifically cast by Kalra, the ancient Momoto, or if this is just a very similar one to one she cast. But yes, this is a rose spell, like she would have used. Sekher! And the battle continues, and there we end Zatch Bell 2, Chapter 21. So, there's not too much to say about this chapter. It's a bit of an interstitial, I don't know if that's the right word to use, but, it was a chapter that was continuing what we've seen and giving us some nice moments, but it has no big reveals, and it also has no cliffhanger, which is pretty rare for a Zatch Bell 2 chapter. They tend to like to end these chapters on really big cliffhangers. Gidoruk was a Crudio spell. Well, that doesn't seem right, does it? I mean, Wouldn't Guido Rook then have been his armor, his stone armor, or his ice armor? I mean, that doesn't seem to make much sense. Maybe they messed up there. Well, I mean, Snap is the best. I don't know if I entirely subscribe to Blue being a bug, but yeah, like you say, at least on Earth, she could be a bug from another dimension. So, not too much to say about this chapter, but it was a good chapter. It gave us some nice comedic and emotional moments, and it gave us some good action, which we can always count on for Raikou to provide. And most important of all, it did not follow the formula, which I've complained quite a bit about in the previous arcs of this series, of, you know, these characters losing all hope and fighting and failing to fight, and then finally the other heroes arrive to help them. Didn't do that. Dr. Riddle is he can't fight, so he does not try to fight, and he also does not lose hope. Is very in character for him, as we said. I feel like there's more to that spell that we'll see in the next chapter. It has to involve ice somehow. That's possible. And yeah, it could also be a typo, in which case maybe they could change it or not. But, so I was satisfied with this chapter because it bucked that formula. Even though it was a very simple chapter, I still really appreciated that change. Hopefully we will not see Kyo and Zatch lose all hope now that they are fighting these new enemies who might be pretty tough. I think, you know, given the allies they have across the world, one of them could possibly show up to help. I think it is, of course, more likely that before any of that happens, we are going to see Vino arrive and have some sort of impact on this fight. I don't know if Vino has any abilities. I frankly kind of doubt it, aside from being very intelligent, both clearly having been intelligent during his interactions with Clear, which may have been in some part due to Clear's influence on him, but also being presumably Dr. Riddle's kind of protege. I think he's probably very, very smart. And, you know, I think he, even if he can't really fight, he's going to have some sort of impact on the battle. So I'm really looking forward to more of the fights here next month, and seeing these abilities beyond just, you know, casting spells at each other, which was still quite neat this chapter. You know, there was some good, you know, Raikou's fight scenes always have a really great sense of push and pull, of one move being countered by another move being countered by another move, and that was also present here. Zatchball Gamer says, I enjoyed the chapter, but the timing that the chapter came out was really inconvenient, so it went through quite a few changes between the rough draft and the final version. Next one will be scanlated better. Yeah, I remember you discussing that. Trust me, it's no problem for anyone, really, you know. We're happy to have them scanlated in any way. Perhaps there are some people in some corners of the internet who might be very nitpicky and not happy to have them translated in English at all if it can't be perfect for them, but I guarantee you most people are not that way. So Kiddo burst through the wall. Buff. Could be. You never know. Buff Kiddo bursting through the wall is the prophecy. You know, I think it's a strong possibility that Raikou will have a formerly weak-looking Mamoto appear buff in the current day. I don't think that's going to be Kid, but he's already done tall and lanky with Conchame. So, you know, I think Kiddo may not have too much going on in terms of a difference in the design. I think, you know, he will just be like a fully grown, you know, dummy figure sort of guy. So I don't know, what else is there to really say about the future? Not much. This chapter did not introduce too many elements. You know, it's sort of, this is kind of a good chapter, if anything, for, you know, if you wanted to jump into the series right now, this would be a good chapter to start with, because it sort of lets you know a lot of the things about the villains and you know, what they're trying to do. And, you know, I mean, it doesn't let you really know much about the good guy situation, but still, it's it's just nice to encapsulate what the general Zatch Bell 2 experience is like. But did you see what Yorogi drew as hypothetical fan art of evil fake Kiddo? I might have seen that. I don't really remember it. Yeah, see if you can link that or send it to me in Discord or something. Fortunately, I wouldn't be able to show it on the stream so easily. I honestly might. There's probably an easy way to just show your computer screen here. I should probably figure that out. But I don't do that to actually read the chapters anyway. Sorry, guys. I truly have no idea if I'm hitting the mic or not. You don't need to tell me that. I can tell when there's sound. I know, guys. I can see. I can see when there's sound or not. If it's helpful for you guys to tell me when there's not sound, but once I know there's not sound, I can then see when there is again. What was I saying? And yeah, welcome to the stream, Chaotic Display. Unfortunately, I think you arrived at maybe if you just arrived, you might have arrived a little bit close to the end. But, the strange creature silhouette that we see forming near Belial as he talks about a new plan, fans generally think that might be Kiddo or a Kiddo copy. Right, it's on a screen when he's talking about it, right? And you linked it here. Yeah, right. He showed a Kiddo with his, Oni horn on the top. And the silhouette, which I think is on a screen, it does appear to have some kind of horn. So, who the heck knows? What I was saying was, I think eventually we're going to see team battles in the series. And then we're going to see at least one really major conflict with armies of these creatures fighting each other. But we might see something in between those, or battles that, say, similar to Vector Ball, make use of these bigger and more complex abilities, which, many of the villains kind of already have. So we might be seeing, I think, some battles as the series goes on that are focused less on hand-to-hand or, spell-to-spell, sort of more close quarters stuff. We've seen that Gorm, they made a ship that uses Gorm's abilities, who's to say there won't be a ship battle at some point. We've got to see at least one book get burned when a real threat rears its ugly head. Yeah, that was actually a discussion that was being had in the Discord earlier today about does Zatch Bell 2's kind of lack of book burning remove some of the edge that series has. And it's an interesting thing to bring up, and funnily enough, something I haven't really thought about or talked about, not to my memory. Obviously, it's a very, among the discussion that's been had about Zatch Bell, and, including in some of the more popular YouTube videos that have been made about it, it's a very highly regarded element of the original series that Raikou is able to sort of kill characters and make the stakes feel extremely high without actually having to kill characters. And it's viewed as something really intelligent that Raikou did with the original series. And we don't really know if this new series has that. And, a lot of people, from the discussion I have seen, clearly do still feel like there are stakes in this series. People are constantly worried that characters are going to die, even though if you really think about it, we haven't really seen many characters die in the present time, aside from Ziggy and some of the villains, who we don't get to know for very long anyway. No good guys have died aside from Ziggy at the start, the very start. And clearly, some people have also noticed this and said, well, I don't think there's any stakes in this series, and I'm not concerned that anyone is going to die. And that's a reasonable way to think. And I can't even really say anything against that. What I can say is just that I don't really know how much I care anymore. Raikou did a whole series where we had that great idea of the books and having them need to be protected and having them be burned, having that be essentially a way of killing the Mamoto, which we had. What my thing is that he's already in Zatch Bell 2 throwing that out by just saying Zatch and Kyo did meet again. All these Mamotos and their partners are meeting again, even though the books were burned. Part of what made the book burning so emotional in the first series is the thought that we might not get to see these people meet each other again, that they might not meet each other again. And I don't think Zatch Bell 2's existence flies in the face of that too much. Overall, I am much happier to have the Zatch Bell 2 sequel than I am annoyed that that idea that they might not see each other again is now gone, which removes a little bit of the emotion from the book burnings in the first series. Raikou, as we know, did have Kyo say at the end of the first series, we will meet again. So it did end in an optimistic way. So Raikou, has possibly kind of thrown that element out for the series, and frankly, I don't really mind. I think we are having other things that we are gaining in this series, and I think we'll continue to have that, I hope, even if we lost an element of the first series that a lot of people liked. Zatch Bell Gamer says, I feel like if the series had executive meddling like Shonen Sunday did, then they probably would have pushed back on removing the spellbook non-death concept in favor of normal death. Yeah, like I said, I don't even really know if you can even say it's in favor of normal death at this point, because no one has normal died that then can't be brought back. But I know I speak for all of us that when I say that I fully trust Raikou's direction with this. Yeah, I absolutely do for now. There's no reason to think that he won't be able to pull on the heartstrings in other ways. And he has already and will continue to. So I think that's all there is to say right now about the chapter. I didn't talk about Towakizu this month. I've really just almost completely stopped playing that. I haven't logged in a few weeks. But I do want to log in again, because are they not giving away a free Laila right now? And the Xeno's also on a banner, I know, which is exciting. So, I am going to get back into the game at some point. I'm taking a break from it, and, I'm never going to be too heavily involved in it, because it's just, I can't do that with gachas. I have Fate Grand Order, that's my gacha, and I love Zatch Bell so much. But especially with the kind of game that it is, I just can't really devote myself to it too much. Golden Memories, especially if it was in English, I think I would have gone the distance with. I was with Golden Memories for at least 2 to 3 times as long as I was with Tawakizu before I kind of dropped it. And I almost purely dropped Golden Memories because I felt I had sort of hit a wall with the Japanese, with not being able to create decks that I could really strategize, especially in the player-to-player multiplayer. That was really why I dropped Golden Memories. I loved Golden Memories, though. And if that was in English, I would have, I think, kept playing as long as it existed, because I really enjoyed that game. So yeah, okay. So the update is soon. I guess that's when the Laila and the Xeno event is going to be added. So that'll make the game a little more exciting. Maybe they'll add some other stuff in the midst of that. But I am going to get back into Tawakizu. There are other mobile games that I've tried, what is it called? Mighty Doom? What the hell is that game called? It's a little Doom mobile game thing that I tried. Mighty Doom, that's what it's called, yeah. And that I dropped pretty quick. And then there was this other little Stranger Things one that was part of Netflix Games, which is this bizarre thing they have in Netflix where you can download games if you have a Netflix account. I tried this dumb Stranger Things one that I played for like one day and was like, no thanks. But Fate Grand Order, I've been playing a lot lately. There's an event going on right now, and I recently got the new Paul Bunyan servant that they put out, who is, of course, going by Fate rules, a teenage girl. So there you go. There you have it. Zatch Gamer says, if there's another story event structured the same way as the Valentine's one, then I should be able to clear it pretty quick, and then hopefully make an English translated video for it. Yeah, I think we would all really like to see that. Netflix games, yeah, that's the thing. Look it up. You can play all kinds of games in there, and it's like it's not like within the Netflix site, which is what's weird about it. But you need a Netflix account to do it, and I think they even added random stuff like old Grand Theft Auto games you can play. It's pretty bizarre. But yeah, I wanted to try that out since I had access to it. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I don't think there's too much to discuss with Zatch Bell. Toei has been making some tweets about it lately, which is really nice. They made a tweet for, I think, the 21st anniversary of the anime. And then they made some other tweets talking about how episodes of the anime were on sale in certain online storefronts. So I thought that was cool. And you love to see that from them. You know, I'm not going to use that as fuel for any speculation, but it's just nice to see, and they always get a big response from fans whenever they tweet like that. I think that's pretty much everything that's happened with Zatch Bell in the past month. We are already well on our way to another chapter. I think it's been about a week yesterday, I want to say, since the last chapter. So we got 3 weeks, about a little less than 3 weeks left until chapter 22. And I don't know when we're going to get a volume 4 cover reveal, but I don't think it's going to be for a while. I think we're currently still in volume 4, right? So it's maybe we're not. I'm trying to think. Because we've passed Sherry and Brago. How much into Sherry and Brago does volume 3 go? But, you know, obviously the cover of Volume 4 is going to be Sherry and Brago, as they are in Zatch Bell 2. And, you know, it's interesting to speculate on because their cover for the first Zatch Bell, the Bunkomons that Raikou is emulating for these Zatch Bell 2 covers, was like pretty different than the others. It was almost like it was made in a photography studio where they were actually have a clear folder with that on it in my room. Where it was them sitting in a room and you know, I think Sherry's in a chair and Brago's standing and they look like they're really, you know, posing, you know. So it's going to be interesting to see if Raikou emulates that somehow. If maybe now, you know, Brago was sitting and Sherry standing, now that Brago is much bigger than Sherry. Or if he will just do something totally different and maybe having Brago cast the gamma race at the screen or something like that. So I think that is all we have to say. So you're saying there are 2 chapters left in volume 4? Okay, so it's going to be a while if that's the case until we get a new cover. But in the month before we get to chapter 22, who knows what could possibly happen, you know? You know, possibly some of these licensing things, you know, they can go through pretty quick. You know, it seemed like those Brazilian Spanish licenses, you know, those were announced very suddenly. We don't know when those deals started. We do know when any current deals could have reasonably started. But you never know. You never know what we might see in the month to come. So that is very exciting. If no one else has anything to say, I think we're going to leave it there for this month. I don't exactly know how long I've been going. I've been going for an hour 10, so that's pretty average length for these. So, pretty normal chapter, but also pretty entertaining one to read. We got to let Ponygon play Bobby again, which he's going to continue to do. And I'm really excited for next chapter when we are going to, at the very least, see more of this exciting fight and more crazy abilities from these villains. And I think we are going to see Vino for sure, and possibly even some other stuff we could never even predict. So thank you to everyone for watching.